Okay, so today we'll see rectangular components in space, that is direction cosine, product of vectors, Varignon theorem, and moments. We'll formally define moments today. Okay, so let us move ahead. So we'll again start with very basic thing, that is rectangular component of a force or any vector. Force is just one of type of a vector. Okay, so what is its rectangular components? Mostly we take, if it is rectangular, the angle between the axes, two axes about which we are projecting we are deriving the components are 90 degrees. You have already seen that the angle between x axis and y axis is 90 degree, that is here, right? So I have to break down this particular force in two directions. One is along x axis, another one is y axis. These two are associated with a frame. Frame is sitting over here. Frame over here is this. Okay, this frame has a particular orientation in space about which you are expressing this force itself. Okay, if frame is rotated, same vector will have a different angle. That means it is directed in a different way. Okay, so force, even with its magnitude remains the same, the direction can differ if the frame is changing, right? So it's a frame dependent thing. Okay, so over here this force F is at an angle theta with respect to x axis, and it is a planar 2D projections which is given by Fx and Fy. Okay, so F complete vector will be equal to sum of the projection, vector sum of those projections, right? And the magnitude of those projections are given by Fx and Fy. Just look carefully at the symbols. This is what I will be following from now on. Any vector will be bold, not italic. Okay, it will be straight font, bold. Suffixes can be there to denote the directions, and many other suffixes will be there later on. So that is there. Okay. So what is this? This is light facet. This is not bold one. That means this is just the magnitude corresponding to the force Fx. Similar to this, Fy is magnitude corresponding to force Fy, right? And I and j are unit vectors along x and y axis. This is quite clear? Okay. So I hope till now it is quite okay. So let us go ahead. So what is Fx? Fx is f cosine theta. And this I hope you all know. Basically cos theta is equal to uh, this is Fx by this is f. So these two are magnitudes. Okay. So it cannot be forces over here. It is just magnitude. So that is the reason Fx is equal to f cos theta, right? And similarly Fy is equal to f sin theta, right? So sum of those two taken square and sum take the root, you should get the original magnitude, that is f. Okay, this has got no information about the direction. Direction has to come from the initial thing, maybe the vector triangle that is forming I and j. So this vector triangle will give you this, right? Okay, the direction of this is given by tan inverse Fy by Fx. Just dividing these two, you will get this. Okay, please mind the symbol once again, symbols and notation. This will be using from now on. Okay, so this whole information was very well there in your brain already. Okay, let us move little ahead. In a similar manner, same the force components in 2D. Over here the directions, the force components, okay, should also give you cosines. This direction is expressed, the direction of this force with respect to the frame axes, okay, x, y and z, x, y and z as per right-handed coordinate system. This again is a rectangular Cartesian system. All the angles are 90 degree, right? This is 90, this is 90, this is 90. Okay, so these angles, okay, these theta x, theta y and theta z, let me clear a bit over here. Okay, So these angles basically say the direction of force with respect to the frame, okay, with respect to the frame, how it is oriented, okay. So there are three which is required. Why it is three? Because angle can be independent rotations about x-axis, about y-axis, about z-axis. It is 3 degrees of freedom system in rotation. 3 were in translation, 3 are in rotation as well. Okay, so in order to specify the direction, you have to use those 3 directions. Okay, that is angles. Okay, so those through angles, 3 parameters can be expressed in multiple ways. It can be rotation with respect to x, with respect to y, with respect to z, or you can directly express as direction cosine. So this is known as direction cosine. Why it is known as direction cosine? It will be very clear few moments from now. Okay, few minutes from now. Okay, so this again can be expressed in a similar way. F, resultant vector F, is equal to sum of vectors fx, fy and fz. These three are nothing but components of that initial vector. Okay, obviously components should sum up to actual vector. Again, fx is the magnitude of fx vector. I is the direction, unit vector along that direction. So this is specifically it gives you what? It gives you the direction. This gives you the magnitude. Same for other three components also. Overall, this can be given as magnitude and a unit vector along that direction. What is that direction? This one. You could see this? Yes. So this is the unit vector along the direction of force. Okay, that is given by En, and F is nothing but it is magnitude of that force. Okay, so magnitude into unit vector along that direction should give me the force. So you need to remember this, because this concept will be using later on while we will be doing some problems, okay, later on. So anyway, so let us move ahead on this. So what is En? En, this is the unit vector along the direction of force, is given by the vector force itself divided by the magnitude. Is it not? So vector by the magnitude of that vector should give me a vector which is along that direction, right? So it is fxi, fyj plus fzk, ijk are unit vectors along xyz. So effectively this gives me En is equal to cos theta xi cos theta yj plus cos theta zj. How? Because fx is equal to f cos theta x. Is it correct? Can you conceptualize this? Anyone? Yes, sir. Very good. So fx by f is equal to cos theta s, fy by f is equal to cos theta y, fz by f is equal to cos theta z. Okay, and you also know fx square, okay, square, sum them and take the root should give you the original vector. That means these three squaring and summing should give you also a unit vector. Okay, it should give you a unit vector, right? So this is your unit vector. Squaring of cos square theta x cos square theta y cos square theta z gives you En, that is unit 1. Okay, so square, that means this is itself is a unit vector. So okay, so what is theta x, theta y, theta z? This is what is known as direction cosine. This gives you an idea where and how this force is located and how it is oriented in a given coordinate system. Okay, in rectangular Cartesian system, how in this frame, how does it look like, right? So this is a rectangular components in 3D, and this is known as direction cosines. These are cosines, right? Okay, dot product of two vectors. This again is very simple. You all know this, but again let us recapitulate that and see a few application of this. So A and B are two vectors. First is this, next one is this. If you say A dot B or B dot A, both gives you a scalar quantity of magnitude AB cos theta. What is theta? Theta is the angle between vectors A and B. So outcome is a scalar, right? So application is, first application will be determination of angle between two vectors. Determination of angle between two vectors. Given two vectors A and B, I want to know what will be the angle. I can quickly take it like A dot B is equal to AXI AYJ AZK dot BXI BYJ BZK. Clear? So if you take, because I dot I is 1, I dot J is 0. So basically it leaves you with AX BX AY BY AZ BZ with a sum in between, right? So that is what is giving you this. So you know already the magnitude, okay? So let me just clear it off a bit so that, okay. So what does this give you? This effectively gives you, given two vectors, you can quickly calculate this term, right? And what will this give you? A dot B. A dot B is nothing but, it comes over here. This is the this, okay. So effectively, if you see, what is A? A is nothing but vector A magnitude. B is nothing but vector B magnitude, right? So that is what is coming here, right? So if you take this, you take this on the other side, cos theta would be equal to A dot B, that is this numerator, A dot B, that is numerator, by magnitude of A, magnitude of B. Cos inverse of that should give you this. Hope this is quite clear. Is it not? Very good. So let us move ahead. So this, what did this gave me? It directly can give me the angle between two vectors, correct? And what is this A cos theta? It is projection of vector A on B. You should remember that as well. Okay. Moving to next. Okay. Determination of projection of a vector on other. This is what I told just now. So A cos theta, that is the projection of a vector along B can be given as A cos theta is equal to A dot B by B. What is A dot B? A dot B is this term. Okay. I think maybe you don't know theta, then also it can directly come here. If you know theta, you can use directly this one, right? Quite clear? So A cos theta is equal to, you just divide this by B. So this is also very, very clear. So that is dot product of two vector, and these are few applications. There are many other applications as well, but these are a few that will be using it from now on. Okay. Interesting note on this dot product. So I hope you got it till here. Yes, yes, please come back. Yes, come back once again. Are orthogonal projections. Just a sec. Okay, so where were we? We were somewhere in this slide. Okay, so there are few interesting notes on dot products. One of them you already know. Yes, you have raised it here. A dot B is equal to AB cos theta. So for B is equal to I, that means if one of them is an unit vector. Over here I have taken B as a unit vector along x-axis. Okay, that is B is completely lying in the x-axis, along x-axis, and it has a unit value. So it is I. So A dot I is equal to A cos theta x. So it is equal to AX. What is AX? It is component of A vector along x-axis. Is it not? Component of A along axis. Similarly, yes. So similarly, component of A along y axis will be A dot j, it is A cos theta y, it is equal to AY. Clear? Similarly, component along z axis will be AZ and it is equal to A dot k. Got it? So, a projections of this vector along three orthogonal coordinates can be quickly calculated by just taking dot products, or not just orthogonal direction components, it can be any component. Okay, it can be any vector along which you want to take a component. If you know, let us say this is a vector A, okay, vector A, and you have a vector which is En, you have to take projection of this vector along this direction. So, A along En will be equal to A dot En vector. Clear? So, this is just the unit vector along that direction. So, this is quite trivial, easy to understand, and that is what we will be using later on in our problems also. So, generally, in order to find projection of a vector A along any direction, one can take dot product of the vector to unit vector En along that direction. This is what I said just now. And how much is that equal to? It is precisely equal to this. It is also can be expressed like this. So, A dot En will effectively give me the magnitude, right? And what does this give me? This gives me the, yes, direction along En. That means a vector A along this direction, okay, An will be equal to this. Clear? Okay. So, now a vector orthogonal to An, a vector which is orthogonal to An, mind it, orthogonal means 90° to original vector An will be given by A minus An. If this is A, this is A, this is An. So, using vector triangle you can calculate this side of it, and this quickly can give me AT is equal to, that is orthogonal. Over here why it is suffix said as T normal, we take it normal direction and tangential direction if it is a circular path, but for simplicity I have taken T here as well, but it has got nothing to do with that T. So, this is just an orthogonal component and this can be quickly written as A minus An. So, this is quite simple. Okay. En is a vector about along which we have taken projection of vector A. Got it? En is a vector, and draw it once again. En is a vector, this is a vector, A is a main vector, projection of this vector along this will be given by this dot this, okay. En is a unit vector along that direction, A is a vector, so An will be A dot En. Clear? Is this clear? So, now this is En. So, En is the direction now, concerned direction, okay. So, now you can use matrix to find dot products as well. You can try doing in MATLAB. I do not know what is the status of MATLAB that you have done so far. I asked you, given you some links to download, maybe somebody has done it also. So, anyway, so you can try doing this in MATLAB. If A is a vector, it is expressed in braces like this with components along x, y, z as ax, ay, az. Similarly, B vector can be expressed as bx, by, bz, right. So, if you at all want to take dot product in between them, what you have to do? A into B transpose, A B transpose will give you that. How you see? A is like this, transpose of this will be a column matrix just like this. So, it quickly can give you A into this, this into this, this into this. Sum of all of these will give you this. So, what this means, A B transpose is effectively a matrix, a single valued matrix A dot B with a scalar value A dot B, this one. Got it? So, a dot product can quickly be obtained using matrix technique like A B transpose. This is nothing but vector A dot B. Clear? So these are some of the interesting notes, some of the applications that you will see later on. Very much depends on this. Okay, so quite clear. So let us move ahead. Yes, why this is not clear, let me just clarify you once again. You have to go through your basics first. Okay, it is just a vector triangle. Let me do it from the first instance. Okay, so this was your vector which is an. You already have projected it along en and it is equal to an. This is what? This is a. This is original vector a, right? So what will be this vector? You tell me. An plus this vector should be equal to a vector. Clear? So how much is t? T is equal to a minus an. So that is what I have done. And how much is this angle? You already know, you have taken projection. So this angle is 90 degrees. So T is at 90 degree to this. So if AN is along this, T will be orthogonal to that. Orthogonal means 90 degree, right? Ortho. Okay. So hope it is clear. So let us move ahead. Cross product of two vectors, that is vector product. This also is quite trivial, easy to understand. A cross B is defined as C is equal to AB sine theta. This is the magnitude, this is not the direction. What is the direction? It is given by right hand thumb rule. If this is A, this is B, A cross B should be something like this, right? So this A cross B should be this, okay? So that is the thumb which shows the direction of C, okay? Angle is from A to B. Got it? So this gives you direction of C. Magnitude is given by this. And how much is the magnitude? You all know this already. It can be quickly done like this. Okay, and you can segregate I, J and K coefficients. You will get some parameters which are similar to this, and you can arrange them in a determinant way like this. Got it? So this is I hope it is already there in your physics. So this is quite okay. So okay. So Cartesian direction is counterclockwise positive, we all know. If you move I cross j will give you k, j cross k will give you I, right? And k cross I will give you j. So it goes in this manner, right? And if you move otherwise, I dot k will give you minus of g. I cross k will give you minus of j. So that also is quite okay. It is not dot, it is all cross products. So this expression depends exactly like this, and these expressions are counterclockwise expressions. Okay. So these are some of the conventions that we'll be using. This is right-handed thumb rule that we use, and counterclockwise, that is positive, we use to measure any angle, to measure the dot products, cross product angle, right? So this is quite simple. Okay, application, one of the application of cross product is you can find a vector which is orthogonal to the plane carrying A and B, is it not? A plane that carries A and B, you can find a vector which is perpendicular to that plane. Okay, so that means A cross B, if you take the magnitude, that is the magnitude A cross B, what is this? This is a vector, yes, unit vector which is orthogonal to this plane, right? So if you know any two vector in a plane, you can find out the normal vector to that plane. This is very useful. Okay, this has a very wide scope later on in robotics and many multi-body dynamics and computer graphics, animation, graphics, many other places it has application. If you want to shade, you should know which is the front side of the surface, which is rear side of the surface, so that you can create a illumination model. So this is just an application, okay. So cross product finds its application in wide number of places, okay. So this is one. So let us move ahead again. Okay, this is something which you all wanted to know, and very important. From now and on we'll be having numericals based on this. So let us formalize the definition of moment as I say, okay. Yes, division, no, there is no division. See, vector addition is there, vector multiplication is also defined in two ways, but definitely not division, okay. We'll come to stresses, but definitely it is not defined like this. Force vector by area is not a vector. Actually, in that case, what you were concerned mostly, see, this is the area vector is given by surface normal, okay. And how much is the force vector? Force vector is something like this that comes on it, right. So what do? You simply take a dot product between A and N. So area vector is given by A, that is the magnitude of area normal to that surface, and A dot N, right. So hopefully I think you did this, or maybe something like this, pressure or something like that, no? Nominal, nominal force. So what you were telling? So definitely it was not a division of a vector. It is not a division of vector. Okay. Okay, anyway. So let us come back to our topic, that is moment of a force. Moment of a force, there is a frame, origin of that frame lies at this location, right, that is given by A. There is a whole of this plate, this plank, wooden plank, let us say it lies in this frame, okay. There is a force which acts on this point. What is this known as? This is known as point of application of force, point of application of force. Position vector of point of application of force. This, if this is a point, what is position vector? Position vector is R. So it is nothing but R is given by, if it is in that frame, R is given by Rx I Ry j plus Rz k, right. So these are the three magnitudes, okay, and these are the unit vectors. So this is the position vector. So this point has a coordinate of Rx, Ry and Rz about A, okay, about A. A becomes the frame now, okay. So this is a point, mind it, this is a point. This is not an axis, okay, this is just a point, and a frame which is attached to this point basically is used to govern this three parameters Rx, Ry, Rz, okay. So now this point is defined. F is a force which is again defined in the same frame, the frame which is attached here, okay. This is acted on a point which is here. F has a direction which is this direction also is defined in this frame, the frame which is attached here, frame which is attached to A. Got it? So this force is expressed in this frame. Position vector is also expressed in this frame. Okay. So you got it till now. So how much is D? D is, if you extend this force little behind, what do you get? You get a normal distance. What is this? This distance is a perpendicular distance of this force direction to the point A. If you take a perpendicular distance of this line from A, that is given by D. So how much should be D? D should be equal to R sine alpha, that is known as moment arm. Moment arm, we will define moment now. For now, you just take it as moment arm, which is defined as r sine alpha. So if this is r, this is f, so r sine alpha will be a distance which is equivalent to d, right? It is equivalent to d. So this distance becomes equal to d, and that is what is d. It is known as moment arm. So now moving ahead, what we see, moment now is defined as r cross f, okay. F is the vector, point of application of this is given by r, and force vector, magnitude and direction is defined in the frame which is attached here, okay. Magnitude and direction is defined in this frame. Our position vector of this point is also defined in this frame. So moment is an outcome. It is an outcome, and it can have its own direction. It has got nothing to do with the original axis of this frame, okay. So moment is always defined about a point. It is not about a torque, okay. So point is important, okay. This point was important. This point itself can be in some other frame, doesn't matter, but this vector and this force, okay, this has to be in this frame. M can never be aligned. Normally it is not aligned with one of the axes of the force. It always depends, it is independent to the axis x, y, z of this frame. Got it? X, y, z directions of this frame has got nothing to do with moment vector direction. Got it? So moment is just an outcome of cross product between r and f, which is defined in frame. Moment can have a direction. It can have a direction that also is defined in this, but it is not aligned with any of the axes of this frame which is attached at it. Got it? Moment was about a frame, okay. Now it has a tendency to cause rotation. It may or may not cause rotation as well. It depends where is it passing through. If it passes through the point itself, it will create no rotation, right? So it has tendency to cause rotation, can be clockwise or anti-clockwise, doesn't matter. Magnitude m0, see this is bold, so this is m0 is given by f into d, or f r sine alpha, r f sine alpha. What are these? This is just a cross product magnitude of this, is it not? R f sine alpha, alpha is the angle between r and f, okay. So r f sine alpha is the magnitude of this moment. Yes, direction will be, yes, r vector is the point, it is the position vector of point of application of force, right? Point of application of that force, that is what is r, okay. Yes, no, that is what you don't have to confuse with that. It is just having a tendency to rotate. It is not about an axis, it is just a vector which is an outcome of this, okay. It has tendency to rotate. Now this vector can be projected to the direction about which rotation is allowed. Got it? Let us say you have a bottle, okay. You have a bottle, okay. This is my cap, okay. So this is the axis vector about which rotation is allowed. Let us say you have a moment that is trying to rotate it in a direction which is something like this. So what will happen? Will it rotate? So moment can be resultant of a force that is acting on it about a frame which is attached to this bottle, and moment is acting on this, but it can only rotate about this axis. So you have to take projection of this moment along this direction, axis of rotation, that will give you the torque about this axis. So torque is always about an axis and it is scalar. It is a scalar, whereas moment is defined about a point in a frame, okay, and it is a vector. Got it? So torque and moment. No, no, nothing. Again, you see, moment can be in a direction where rotation is not allowed at all. Okay, let us say this whole of this plank is fixed to the ground. Then moment will not cause any rotation. Rotation is not allowed. Moment can have n number of projection. Few of them may be aligning with your axis of rotation. In that case, it will create rotation, whereas in other cases, it will not create any rotation. Okay, so torque is always about an axis. Yes. See, this is just a moment. We'll define vector, a scalar product of a moment, of vectors, then it will be more clear what exactly is torque. So let me just move ahead a bit. Yes. No, not axis of rotation. Origin of the coordinate frame. Origin of the coordinate frame. So it is just a point. It is just a point. It is origin. Origin of the frame which is attached here. This is a frame which is located at A. Got it? So R is defined as, right. So M is effectively a vector which is an outcome of these two. So M can lie not necessarily along the axis of rotation. Okay. M is just having a direction which is perpendicular to the plane carrying R and F. Yes, very good. Okay, it passes through the origin, but again, moment is a free vector. It is a free vector. It can be placed anywhere on this plane. Once it is found out, once rotation is there, it can be placed anywhere on this plane. That thing will also become very clear once we'll do one or two problems. Okay, so moment is a free vector again. Okay, so moment is a scalar, obviously. It has a direction which is perpendicular to the plane carrying R and F, because it is a cross product, you see. It can come something over here. I have, yes, yes, moment is a vector. So it is, let us say these two are lying this, so moment can be something like this. It need not to be aligned with one of the axes. Okay, so it has tendency to create rotation, but if at all there is no rotation happening, so it can be static as well. Yes. Torque is a projection of moment along an axis and it is scalar. Quite clear? So you have to take, let us say if this is a moment which is a vector, and you have an axis vector about which you can rotate, that is given by unit vector, so you have to take a dot product along that, so that moment projected along E vector, that is the axis vector, gives you the torque vector. Now it is clear? No, done, not done. Torque is again, resultant is what? Because it is a projection taken using a dot product, output is a scalar. If it is just a projection, it again would be a vector, but it is not a vector. It is a projection of a vector on along an axis. Yes, Torque is not a vector, so it is just a value. Okay. Yes, that's all. Okay. So let us move ahead. So principle of transmissibility applies to this force F, because you see F, if it is here, it has got same effect. If it is here, it has got same effect. Okay, this F can be transmitted anywhere along this line of action. Okay, so that is why F is a sliding vector along line of action. M, moment, is a free vector. It can be placed anywhere on this plane carrying R and F. Okay, so these two examples are very well covered in this particular topic. Okay, so let us move ahead now. Okay, so now defining scalar triple product. What is scalar triple product? This is exactly what you wanted to know, that is torque. Okay, so what is torque? So it's a dot product of, basically it is a scalar triple product. It is known as scalar triple product, mixed triple product, or scalar triple product. Both are same. It is given by three vectors S, P and Q. Let us say you are taking cross product between P and Q, and resultant of that you are projecting it along S. That means what? It is a scalar triple product. So if you take dot product along X, so what effectively you are doing? S, vector S is projected along cross product of P and Q. That is the direction of this. Okay, this is P, this is Q, cross product is something along this direction. If you do this operation, what is happening? S is projected along this direction. That means this value, this one. Okay, and output is a scalar. Is it not? Output is a scalar. Got it? So this is a scalar value and this is there. Okay. So what effectively it is, S dot P cross Q can be written as this. Okay, and finally it can be written in the determinant way like this. So Sx, Sy, Sz, Px, Py, Pz, Qx, Qy, Qz should give you directly the scalar triple product output. So physical significance of this is, again, it is the volume of parallelepiped formed by vectors S, P and Q as sides. If a parallelepiped, if you can draw using this three vectors. Okay, so what this value gives, it is the volume of this parallelepiped, right? So exactly that is given by this mixed triple product or scalar triple product. This is the physical significance of. So projection of S along P cross Q. Okay, if it is done otherwise, magnitude will remain the same, because it is a dot product. P cross Q dot S is also same, magnitude is same. Okay, because it is a dot product, it is just having a magnitude, output is a scalar, so it is same. Both should be equivalent. Both of them is parallelepiped volume, right? So now if you write it like this, basically what you are doing, you are taking projection of P cross Q along S, P cross Q along S direction, that means this. Okay, so what was that? That is similar to taking projection of moment along axis of rotation. So what it should give you? It should give you the torque which is able to rotate the object about that particular axis. Got it? So note, this is equal to this is equal to this equal to this equal to this. So anyway it can be expressed. You know, if you flip the vectors P and Q, you get a vector with a negative sign. That is quite easy. That is what is applied here as well. And you can write as over here, both are equivalent. So this is what. So evaluating a moment about any axis, moment about an axis, If it is happened to be an axis of rotation, that means that is giving you a torque. It is just the torque, okay, and it is a value, again a scalar value that can rotate the object, okay. Varignon theorem, what is this? Name looks a big, but you all are already very familiar to this. If I tell you M is equal to R cross F, F is a vector which is sum of vectors F1 and F2. So you put it here, so it becomes equal to R cross F1, R cross F2. So what this says, independent moments caused due to F1 and F2, if you sum them together you get the resultant moment. What is this? This is the resultant moment, okay, about this point, right. So this is what is Varignon theorem, and it is not just limited to 2, it can be extended further. If it is sum of many forces, it can be extended for many forces, okay. Resultant moment due to system of concurrent forces. Yes. Yes. Moment is also a vector. You can add them the way vectors are. Okay. बिल्कुल मान सकते हैं, ठीक है. So yes. So where is the, so you what you will get, you know. So effect of R and F1 will give you a moment, let us say M1, then again effect of F2 and R will give you another moment M2, and resultant moment will be something like this, okay, maybe a sum of these two moments. Got it? So that is how it is happening, okay. It is some vector sum, as good as writing a vector sum. Yes, both way it will work. You see, it has been done over here like this, right? So I would leave till here today.